Stand by to receive our transmission.
Where are you boys from in the world?
Alabama, sir.
I got a bad feeling about this.
Welcome to the Bama Geeks podcast. We are four friends diving into our favorite pop culture topics with a dash of Southern charm.
We have the tools, we have talent. It's Miller time.
Whoa, this is heavy.
Pizza dude's got 30 seconds.
Wait, what? Crazy? You didn't say I was crazy.
You got the wrong guy. I'm the dude, man.
You want something done, you've got to do it yourself.
Be excellent to each other. Party on, dudes!
So grab your biscuits and gravy, a glass of sweet tea, and enjoy the nerdy hospitality of Brock and Jessica Parker, Bo Bearden, and Kevin Gardner.
This is the way.
This is the way.
And welcome into episode 15 of the Bama Geeks podcast. We hope you're doing extremely well. I'm Brock Parker, and with me, as always...
Hey, it's Jessica.
Hey, it's Kevin.
And I waited to the end, as always. It's me, Bo.
Because for some reason, we just let you keep coming back, right?
That's right. I'm telling you.
Yeah, it's a wonderful first Sunday in October. Favorite month of the year for all of us. And we are watching Kevin's phone go back and forth as we chat. It's mesmerizing. We won't say what the phone is doing, but it is swinging back and forth like a pendulum. He's trying to put us all into a trance.
You're getting very sleepy.
It's the spooky season. Well, this upcoming weekend after we launch this episode on Wednesday, we're going to have Alabama Comic-Con and some heartbreaking news about it, at least for, all of us. Very disappointed.
Yeah, it's okay to say all of us. Yeah. It's all of us.
Yeah, it's collective.
So but we're still going to be there. We're going to have fun, and we're going to discuss horror movies because we're getting into October, and we're going to touch on movies we like, horror movies we don't like, why we like them, maybe some things we look for in horror movies, that either draws us in or keeps us away, and then. It is a completely spoiler-filled review of one of the best movies on Amazon Prime right now. That's how we found it. It's a little jewel called Llamageddon. And you can decide for yourself after we talk about it whether or not you want to see this.
You know you guys are going to want to see this just like you saw Peanut Butter Solution.
Look, it only took me 5 minutes in to really question why I made the decision to watch this.
Look, we're not supposed to be at that point of the review yet.
Okay.
Wait till the end.
A little bit of spoilers there from Jess.
Yeah. Okay.
We'll get into Llamageddon. She's anxious to talk about it. That's why she jumped into it.
Mm.
Yeah, that's what it is.
She's ready to spit those details, right?
I'm ready to move past.
Oh, but before we get into everything, please make sure you hit us up on social media at Bama Geeks, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and look us up on YouTube. We do have the podcast available there. You can also write us at bamageeks@gmail.com.
I would say while you're talking about where we're all available, I listened to our last episode via Amazon, which was really cool. I like the way their music integrates in with their podcast stuff. So that's really cool. So if you got the smart speaker, you can tell it to play it.
Hey, very nice.
All right, so we can have our wiretap right behind us. We can just call on her to. Okay, cool.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's something that we put into place. Golly, a couple of episodes ago. Amazon sent us an email and said, "Hey, you can have Bama Geeks on Amazon Music now." It's like, cool. So
sure.
We added it there. Yeah. And speaking of social media. You can listen to the podcast now through your Facebook app. If you go to Bama Geeks on Facebook in your app, your mobile app, you can stream it right from there. That's something brand new as well. And of course, you need to be listening to the podcast in order to find out that information. So,
so the whole idea is that you'll be listening to it on whatever platform that you currently listen to it on, with the idea that you may start listening to it on these other suggestions that we give you. So
don't worry, Facebook will make you aware, because I don't know if you noticed when you put links now, like specifically YouTube links, Facebook will put a prompt underneath it now that says, hey, you want to watch this continue watching this on Facebook instead of leaving the site. So they're learning how to keep you on that one site.
Well, they're desperate for,
depending on your feelings on that. Hey,
yeah. Facebook's in a little bit of a rut right now with public image. It has been for a while, actually. But it's where we all stay connected closely as friends, more so than other social media outlets. So anyway, you can listen to us on Facebook. And if you want to share this on Facebook, we greatly appreciate it. Be sure and tell all your friends about Bama Geeks. Just share the socials, share the links, and help us grow the audience. The downloads looking pretty good, and we certainly appreciate all the support. So, as of this episode, coming up this weekend is Alabama Comic-Con at the BJCC in Birmingham. We will be there, not in any official Bama Geeks capacity, but we'll be there along with our Alabama Ghostbusters group. And the news that came out since the last episode that really broke my heart is that Judith Hoag has had to cancel.
So there goes our shot of inviting her to dinner.
Yep, we'll have to eat with our normal group of people that we do love. We were just hoping for a little bit extra bonus of Judith with us, but
yeah,
we'll get her back to Birmingham hopefully at some point and see if she would like to go to the Southern, somewhere around downtown. So, yeah, Judith won't be there, but Sting, Booker T, Dr. Britt Baker, some anime people that I do not know.
Well, let me think. They did add with the turtle guest with her leaving. They added, it's Francois Chow, I think I'm pronouncing his name correctly, but he's Shredder from 2.
He's regular Shredder.
Yes, not Super Shredder. He's not Nash.
Yeah, not Kevin Nash. But, yeah, I did see that he'll be there. One of the turtle actors is going to be there?
One of the suit guys, yeah.
And we still have the animated April O'Neil there, right?
Mm-hmm.
She is now the only reason I'm going, honestly. Yeah. I'm taking my Super 7 April figure, and I'm going to have her sign Renee Jacobs.
Speaking of her, did you see her? She was at a convention. I want to say it was either Vegas this previous weekend, where someone brought some customized figures of April, where they were very exaggerated in April's details, and she has some great, hilarious pictures of herself looking at them. I'll send them your way.
Yeah, we'll have to see those. Is that the one that you sent me?
No, not that one. Not that custom. The Slave Leia custom April.
Hut Slayer. We're now politically correct.
Gotcha. Yes, that's true. Excuse me.
Yeah,
are y'all talking about
use that S word now? Come on.
When y'all mentioned the other guy that was in the turtle suit, y'all talking about Brian Tachi?
Yeah.
Okay, he was in Revenge of the Nerds too.
Oh, that's right.
He was in the Revenge of the Nerds movie. Yeah. Oh, what was he was the one that. Oh man,
it's been ages since I've seen that.
Yeah, it's been.
Was he the one with a pocket protector? Actually, that was all
well, they all did. They all had pocket protectors. No, he was the one that was always like with Booger. Yeah,
no, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, I bet you it's been probably 25 plus years since I watched Revenge of the Nerds.
I kind of that's one of those.
Should you have been watching that at that age?
Me?
Not you, Bo.
Oh.
25 years ago, I was 15. I mean,
yeah, I saw it when it came out. Yeah. What are you trying to say, Brock?
It was still rated R, it should be. We're trying to promote, rule following, 17,
What?
Rule following, whatever.
I mean,
I had cable when I was a kid, man. What are you talking about?
There was so much stuff that. Never mind.
Look.
Hey, man, look, I used to have one of those cable boxes back when cable was analog, and then you would go to those certain channels.
Oh, the
certain channels that were scrambled out, and I had a cable box that I had figured out how to make it stop moving.
Oh boy,
he was Takashi. That was it. Takashi, Revenge of the Nerds.
So
Sorry.
Well, I mean, think you're talking about the old, like, you remember the old satellite dishes where you had to slick, like, the satellites like G7 and it would.
Yeah, we had one. We had a big white one. Yep.
Hey, I've seen my dad several times go out there and crank the satellite.
He did it manually?
Yeah, we had one that my dad had to go out and crank it. We didn't have one that was on. No, yeah. I guess that was just a fancier upgrade than we could afford at that time.
My dad was not going to have any type of manual because their satellite dish was like yards and yards away behind our barn.
Ours wasn't that far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, Dad had an actuator on it.
It's so crazy. Like, nowadays people do like the streaming and all that stuff, the illegal streaming and torrenting stuff. You remember people would find ways to get their box receivers hacked, and people. Mm-hmm. We didn't have it. You always had that one friend whose family did.
My dad had a descrambler. Yep.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And that's back when Nickelodeon went off the air like at 9:00 at night and switched over to A&E. Arts. Of course, it wasn't called A&E. It was actually called Arts and Entertainment. But Nickelodeon signed off the air and Arts and Entertainment came on. And that's, of course, when I went to bed because that was dull. Because they actually showed operas and stuff at that time. I'm like, I'm not watching this. My cartoons have gone off.
Well, there was also that point Nickelodeon used to stop kid programming and they would go to Nick at Night. Then.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now it wasn't two separate channels. Yeah,
no,
right.
This was after that. Yeah.
Right. Wow, how did we get off on this, man?
That's what we do.
Whoa.
So anyway,
we got so far removed from Alabama Comic Con.
So what are we gonna talk about?
I bring up the guy from Revenge of the Nerds, and this is where it takes us.
Look, it happens.
It happens.
So Renee Jacobs,
nerds, geeks, whatever.
Yeah. So Renee Jacobs will be there, live, living color, no descrambler needed. She's now the only one I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing everybody, but she's the only one I'm going to get an autograph from this time. Just get it from my April picture.
She seems like a sweet lady. Like she was on Rob Paulson's podcast years ago. They had like all the Turner actors on it, and she was on there, and it's so funny just to hear they're like a big family, and she seems like she's the sister mother figure that tries to. She still has fun, but keeps everybody in line, but they still has a good time.
She has to keep those guys in line. They're nuts.
If you are a fan of Walking Dead, there are some Walking Dead guests that are going to be at Alabama Comic Con too.
That's only you, sweetheart.
Well, there may be. I'm speaking to the audience here. I know that's not y'all's thing; it's my thing. But Ryan Hurst, who and but he's also known for Sons of Anarchy and Remember the Titans.
Ryan Hurst is awesome,
and his daddy was a former actor on Dukes of Hazzard. So. And then Alana Masterson, who was Tara, and so if you like Walking Dead, they're going to be there. And also John Barrowman's going to be there. So
what about for our wrestling fans, Jessica?
Oh yeah.
Oh, the legend, the Stinger is going to be there, and Dr. Britt Baker, who's currently the women's champion.
Bo, are you still
AEW champion?
You still gonna do the Tony Schiavone thing?
If I'm trying to, I'm gonna try to get me a blazer. I don't know if I'll get me a AEW patch in time, but I'm still gonna probably get me a blazer and maybe a Starbucks cup and some glasses. So,
and if you want to be in the presence of royalty, King Booker. You remember when Charmaine used to do Booker?
King Booker.
The five-time champion.
It sounds like there's going to be a good spread of different genres of guests that are going to be there. So I'm really excited for it. I think it's going to be cool.
It's turning into a really, really great con for this area. So
the kid that was the rookie in the movie The Rookie.
So you're saying The Rookie?
Yeah, The Rookie. And it's about the Chicago Cubs.
Are you talking about Rookie of the Year?
Yeah.
Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, The Rookie was another Disney movie about the guy who used to pitch that was up in age. That's a fantastic movie. If you want a good wholesome baseball movie, The Rookie is really fantastic. And like we said, there's going to be some anime. They're kind of do an additional anime con. It's like 2 cons in one.
Mm-hmm.
Well, initially they were supposed to be separate, and then last year happened. So I think they're trying to just get them all together and then go from there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We're not very schooled up on anime here, guys, but we're sure that the guests that are there are very prestigious and they're going to be awesome. So definitely come and check them out.
Yeah.
So that's happening. We'll be there this weekend and hope to see you there. We'll be hanging around, like I said, with the Alabama Ghostbusters table a little bit. So if you're there, come say hi to us. If you're on our social medias, you know what we look like. We might be out and about wandering around. So if you see us, say hi. So that's going to kick off October for us. And, of course, October is the spooky season. And Kevin posted up a video tonight of his display. He's told you all about his Skeletons and Ghostbusters display. Man, that looks sweet.
Very
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Very nice.
How'd you get the lights to work?
We've already talked before about how I had bought some 4-foot tall skeletons. 3D printed out all the parts, all the basic Ghostbuster parts that make them look like Ghostbusters, like the proton packs. They've got scaled down proton packs. They've got scaled down wands. They've got scaled, and one of them even has a scaled down goggles, like the ecto goggles as well. So basically, the way I did it, I wanted to get a Stay Puft for it, but they're difficult to find, the larger ones. So I wound up getting an 11-foot tall ghost, which would be something you would expect the Ghostbusters to battle, you know. But basically what I did was I put the ghost up next to my house, and I mounted the 3 Ghostbusters. I didn't do 4 because I thought 4 would be a bit excessive. It wasn't that I was leaving anybody out. It just seemed like that 3 was going to be the good number for the display I had. And I mounted them on some steel poles, and then from the steel poles ran guide wires to my house.
It could have just been Winston before he joined the group, you know?
Yeah. So I ran guide wires and then inflated the ghost in between it. And the guide wires run to a certain point where it looks like they're actually battling the ghost. Because they are, right? I mean, it's just the way it is. Yeah. So, and then found some really cool some lights that I honestly didn't think were going to look as good as they did. They turned out looking much better than I thought they would. I thought it was going to be really weird looking. And, by the time we publish this, hopefully I'll have a video up on our Facebook page so that you guys can see it. But, it flashes and it's very convincing. It's a very good display, if I say so myself. I did spend a lot of time on it, so I will say so myself.
It looked fantastic. Can't wait for the audience to see that. Bo, you've got all your decorations up?
Yeah, we've got all ours up. We've had ours up since like right after Labor Day. I think I talked about it last time. So yeah, nothing new has been added. We'll slowly start it. We still need to put more stuff up inside. We've got a little, I don't know what you would call these things. They're usually like little animals, like for the other holiday that comes later that I'm not going to say by name right now. But they're little decorations. They're made of like a hard plastic or whatever. But they're kind of glittery and lit. But we have one that's like a Reaper that's like maybe 2 feet tall. We've got to put him out. Let's see. We've got like a jack-o'-lantern pumpkin that'll, say spooky stuff when you walk by it. We'll slowly get it going. Like the interiors, we usually do the outside first, then work on the inside.
Well, have you guys been watching any movies already? Getting fired up for October?
Heck yeah, man!
I've got a couple on the list to watch, but I'm working on my other things. Like I think I enjoy horror games maybe just as much as I do horror movies now too.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. We've been watching some pretty weird ones lately. Was it last weekend? Me and Brock tuned in to we did a free trial of Shudder because we found out that Elvira was going to be having a 40th anniversary thing going on Shudder. So we were very, curious to see what that was all about.
Well, we thought she was just going to be on there talking and doing a special.
Yeah.
Instead, she showed 4 movies. She showed Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, naturally her first movie that came out in 1988. Which is an absolute favorite of mine because, Elvira, during that time as you're growing up, becoming a young man. Anyway, she also showed the original House on Haunted Hill with Vincent Price, which that was the first time I had seen that, and the original one, and I really enjoyed it. And it was neat to see Vincent Price as not a young man, but a younger man than what I knew him from, like in Edward Scissorhands and Thriller. But they showed that. They showed City of the Dead with Christopher Lee.
Very young Christopher Lee.
Yeah, incredibly young Christopher Lee. I was like, that is young Count Dooku. But it was pretty good. I think I enjoyed that the most out of the other ones, because I was familiar with the House on Haunted Hill, but I had not seen it. But City of the Dead was something brand new to me, and the story was interesting. Yeah. And thankfully, Jess had already fallen asleep.
It was getting late.
It was getting real late. And she showed the final movie, which was called Messiah of Evil. Take a hard pass on that. It's bad.
Yeah, and I get the feeling that in true Elvira form, the majority of these movies are not supposed to be good. They're supposed to be, some of the worst, I wouldn't say the worst, but, the campiest of the horror. It's just like she does easily to, make little, snide remarks about. But from what I saw, the time that I was awake, I knew this one was going to be absolutely horrible.
And it was.
Brock suffered through it, and I was asleep on the couch.
Yeah, I was up way too late, not enjoying that one. But the fun thing about the entire night, with it being her 40th anniversary, is she interjected herself into the movies from time to time. You're sitting there watching the movie, and next thing you know, it switches over to a scene similar to the one you're in, but she's in it. Oh, and making puns and jokes and stuff, and then the movie continues. So that made it enjoyable. It until the last movie. The last movie she couldn't save. So
no.
If you're a subscriber to Shudder, Messiah of Evil is on there. Please don't be tempted. Just pass. And I guess that kind of brings us to something else we wanted to discuss. What's maybe a horror movie that each of us like? What's maybe one that each of us don't like? And what attracts you to horror movies, and what keeps you away from them?
One particular movie, horror movie that has stuck with me. It's actually a fairly new one. It's actually an Iranian film called A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night. It's really, really cool movie. It was done back in 2014. Had fairly good critical acclaim. It stars Sheila Vand. Sheila Vand, she won. She's basically best known for her role in the film Argo, with alongside Ben Affleck. A phenomenal actress. And this was, I don't know if this was her debut as an actress. I think she'd been doing stuff beforehand. But I mean, this movie, it's just the setup of it. I don't normally like foreign films that much. I guess as I'm getting older, I'm getting a little more accepting of it. This is one that I kind of went out on a limb and watched and walked away extremely happy with. I mean, it's granted, it's a horror film, so you're not like, giddy about it or anything like that. But basically, it's about a female vampire who preys on men who take advantage of women and take advantage of situations and things like that. Just basically, she's kind of like an anti-hero in a way, as a vampire. And that's really all. I don't want to get too far into it because it spoil some of the story. But I don't know what streaming services, I didn't really look it up that it's on now. But if you're looking for a good watch, so far as something that's kind of a foreign flick, and it's a foreign film, so it's in another language, so you'll have to turn subs on or whatnot, but it's really good. It's really engaging, and I think it's a true representation of a good, well put together horror movie. And the one that I didn't care for, this is probably going to spark some controversy with my folks. I changed my opinion on this one a little bit, but Dan Aykroyd's directorial debut, Nothing But Trouble.
Oh, okay.
Which,
you'll get no arguments from me on that.
No arguments from me.
I know we've got a lot of Ghostbusters fans here. We all love Dan, but that movie was, it had horror elements to it. It's more of a comedy, but it had horror elements to it with the crazy machines that they built to kill people and all that crazy stuff in the movie. But I'm sorry, spoilers. It's a film from like 91, so if you haven't seen it yet,
Yeah, but no, dude, it's bad. It's bad.
That movie was just.
Even the cast, the cast was, you would think about all the people that were in there, they couldn't even do nothing to make this movie enjoyable. It was pretty bad. I mean,
the best thing about that movie, in my opinion, was the fact that Digital Underground showed up in the movie.
Oh, well, there you go.
they were singing it. I was like, that movie gets about halfway through and just goes off the rails. Like, it's like he has no idea how to end it. And it's just, that was just. Yeah, that movie was a mess.
It sounds like
but
how funny. Dan wanted to treat Ghostbusters in space.
Yep, like that's. Yep.
There's a reason that Dan is concentrating on selling vodka right now. Okay, guys. So yeah, that's Nothing But Trouble was it's an experience. It's not quite as bad as the film that we're going to talk about later on, but it had the star power in it and it had its funny moments, but for the most part, so far as, how it was trying to bill itself, did not fit that puzzle piece whatsoever. It just did not fit in the hole. So, but I do encourage, just kind of circling back, guys, I do encourage you to try to watch A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night. That's a very, very good movie.
Okay. How about you, Bo?
Well, I'll go ahead and get the one I know for sure. Like I said, for one I enjoy, and I'd say the thing about this movie, I enjoy this movie, but I know a lot of people don't like it, mostly on the ending. So I don't know if we'll go spoiler territory, but like one of my favorite horror movies of the last few years has been The Mist. I don't know.
Oh,
yes.
Oh.
See,
Brock hasn't. Yeah, Brock hasn't seen it.
Don't spoil the ending. Though.
I don't either.
Oh my gosh!
It's a lot of people like. I like the movie. Like I said, of course it's Darabont movie, so that was one of my things for. There's a lot of good actors. I got Thomas Jane in it. Of course, he's fresh off. He was the popularity with The Punisher,
right?
But like I dragged him. Like we a bunch of my friends, we went and saw it because we knew it was a Stephen King movie. We had a lot of good actors, and at this time, this is pre-Walking Dead, but there's about one, two.
Melissa McBride's in it, yeah.
I can't think. The actor plays Dale. There's a lot of characters, but this is all like tropes of people who got in good with Frank Darabont.
Right.
But I like the movie is essentially, like I said, just and kind of think we're not going spoiler territory. Essentially, a guy and his family live in Upper Maine. All of a sudden, they go to the grocery store that day. All of a sudden, something happens, and there's this big blustery white mist outside. They're all stuck in the supermarket with fellow members of the town.
Mm-hmm.
And it all turns into everybody gets scared. Everybody has their difference of what we're going to do. And then it turns into a survival type thing. The scary monsters in the mist. And
don't go too much further.
Yeah. And essentially it goes into, but I'm trying to think, like I said, it's a very, the ending left a lot of folks very unsatisfied.
But it's Stephen King. Stephen King doesn't write good endings to books anyway. So it's like
I want to give my personal message of how I feel about the movie, but I'm gonna wait till after Brock sees it. Then I will deliver it. Okay. But I don't know. I like that movie. Like I said, of course, I'm weird. I like screwed up movies like that like that usually not two people are popular with. So I guess that kind of I may have just knocked it out 2 for 1 there. Movies I like that. But I don't know. Like I said, that's the only one I can think of. But y'all were sorry, I didn't mean to circle back. But I know one movie I did watch. I watched it a couple weeks back, but the 2001 version of 13 Ghosts.
I don't even remember that movie.
I watched it when it first came out, and I vaguely remember it.
It still really holds up really well. I mean, it holds up really well. I like it. Like, it's a really good thing. Like, it was still in the early 2000s, but still had a lot of cool practical effects in it. There was still a little early 2000 CG in it there. They kind of give it that awkwardness, but it's still really like all the monsters and the ghosts are all practical, and they still look really, really freaking cool. But yeah, that's been a movie. I have other list of things I want to do. I want to watch some other movies. I want to play some of my favorite horror games. I got to knock out Silent Hill 2 around this time of year. One of my favorite horror games. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's it for me. Maybe the next go around, I have more to add.
Okay. Is it my turn?
If you want it to be.
I mean, I love horror. I love the slashers. I love, the creatures, the monsters. But I think really as far as what makes a good horror movie for me is the psychological side of things. Mm-hmm. And one movie that I saw as a kid, again, why did I get exposed to this as a kid? This always stuck with me, is Poltergeist.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, that's a classic.
Poltergeist to me is a classic horror movie at its finest.
This house is clear.
I mean, you've got everything from. I'm sure there's no spoilers here, right? I mean, we've all seen it.
Yeah. This movie's pushing almost 40, right?
This movie's
not there.
Yeah, so if you haven't seen this movie by now, I apologize. But I mean, you've got everything from the clowns to the ghost to faces melting off to skeletons coming up in the swimming pool. I mean,
real skeletons.
Real skeletons too.
Yeah.
Yes, skeletons. Real skeletons that she didn't know about. They didn't tell her. They never told her about it at the time they were filming, which rightfully so. I mean, that would be enough to freak anybody out. But I would have to say Poltergeist has got to be, if you want to talk about something that's going to scare me to the bone, that's the one right there.
And it holds up, and it still does. It still scares the heck out of me, too.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
But the little brother is Oliver Robbins.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, me and Bo and Oliver and Sean Spence and Robin Shelby were all in Pensacola driving around one night.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was in my car.
He's a really good guy.
Yeah, he is.
Really super cool guy.
And
that was kind of neat. I'm like, I hope my car is not haunted now.
He's just an actor, bro. It's just an actor.
And Spielberg did not go wrong by getting Tobe Hooper to direct this movie.
Yeah.
Perfect choice for a director for this movie. But yeah, I have to say that if I had to pick the one horror movie that sticks with me and will stick with me for the rest of my life, it's Poltergeist. Crazy enough, I'd have to say the worst horror movie I've ever seen in my life was Prom Night 2, Hello, Mary Lou. I don't know if y'all have ever seen it, but
I'm kind of afraid.
Well,
that sounds horrible.
I'm morbidly curious.
It's very bad, but it is available. It is available for free on streaming services. So
was that was that Prom Night 2 Electric Boogaloo? Is that what you said?
Prom Night 2.
I don't know where they thought they may be going off, because I'm sure that, now I haven't seen it, but I know there was a Prom Night with Jamie Lee Curtis back in the time where she was the Scream Queen coming off of Halloween. But yeah, this movie totally fell flat. But
it's got Michael Ironside in it, though. I mean, come on.
Yeah, but he's so bad in this, though. It's just...
Is this like Highlander 2 bad?
Worse.
Wow.
Yeah, worse. Yeah. And you might be into those kind of things, I mean, for fun. But at the same time, sometimes something draws me to a really bad horror movie. So, do I really hate it? Or it's like the car wreck. I can't turn away from it. I have to see how bad it is.
Well, you fell asleep during Messiah of Evil.
Well, honey, it was what going on midnight. I was lucky to be. I was actually surprised. You actually made the comment that night. You were still surprised I was awake. But it was getting on midnight. I was getting tired. You know me.
Jess, the more you talk about this, the more I'm smelling a future movie review from us.
Oh, it's bad. It's
a group watching of this movie. I'm with Bo now. I've actually looked it up on Wikipedia, and I am morbidly curious now. I really think I want to watch this.
And our weather radio is going on.
There's our weather radio. Honey, can you go hit that button?
Yeah, sure. Hang on just 1 second, guys.
So
what's going on?
Flash flood.
Get a flash flood warning.
Too bad it wasn't like a zombie warning, because this is a Halloween.
Guys, we live by our weather radios in Alabama, okay?
Yeah, we do. So I'm not surprised to hear that going off, because we were taking the kids back today and we were driving through Talladega, and I'm surprised did they finish the race today or not? Everybody was out there and it was raining mercilessly on the way.
Brock, you missed the perfect opportunity to say, we were boating to take the kids back. Especially with the flash flood.
Oh.
All right. Hopefully that won't interrupt us again.
That's fine.
Oh, that's all right. If it does, that's okay.
Yeah. We stay safe in the house. We have our weather radio.
That's the exceptionally Bama part of this podcast. Yeah, your weather radio.
Have our weather radio.
We live by two things in Alabama in the weather. Number one is our weather radios. Number two is James Spann.
Yes,
and James Spann telling us to get a weather radio.
Exactly.
Right.
And so we did. So if he hears this, James, we took your advice. You just heard it.
We do not rely on sirens.
Nope.
That's right.
Because I'm half deaf anyway. So.
Well, how about you, Brock? What are your movies?
All right. I've been thinking about this. Which movie really stands out to me as far as how much I just absolutely loved it at the time, and especially the mystery around it. This was back in 1999, and I absolutely adore and still love watching it, The Blair Witch Project.
Yeah.
There was a little bit of a mystery to it. Was it really found footage? Mm-hmm. And that was the first found footage film, correct?
Right.
And at the time, it was like, did these kids really die?
That defined that genre.
Yeah.
I mean, that found footage films, I'm sure there were ones before that, but so far as kicking it off as kind of a theme, that was the start.
Also, I want to say that was probably like the first movie that started really capitalizing on viral marketing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Big time.
If you were not around in the 90s, late 90s, and were here for that movie firsthand, during the first run, that movie was a screaming success.
Mm-hmm.
It was huge
for how they did that. And, I still to this day love watching it, remembering those old feelings, knowing what we know now,
But it sucked us in, the marketing and it pulled you in.
Yeah.
But what's so great, though, is the last scene has become so iconic. It's parodied in so many things. Yeah. I've seen it from cartoons to other movies and other kind of forms of media. So that tells you its impact on it.
Yeah.
And the fact that I remember back when it came out, people would go and see it and we were all mesmerized by it. And then when when media started covering it and they were like, well, we think this was fake now. It was like everybody felt like we were robbed of something. It was like there was this collective feeling of like we all kind of, the whole marketing thing was that this was found footage to begin with, and then it was like, no, this was actually just a film, and it was done that way. It was like this collective feeling of like everyone felt like that we were robbed of something, like we had something awesome here, that it was amazing and it was found footage, and then all of a sudden now it's just been taken away from us. I'll never forget that. That was just like. Mm-hmm. It was kind of a backlash.
Well, everyone talked about that movie. I mean, like everybody you knew, your parents, it was somebody. If somebody knew about it or had seen it or somebody was talking about. Like, it was a very ridiculous topic.
It was one of the first movies I ever bought on DVD. But before I bought it on DVD, I had it on VHS, and it came in a 2-cassette package.
Oh wow!
Oh. Wow.
Yeah, I never had it on VHS.
The only one I ever bought that came in a 2-cassette package like that was Braveheart, and that's kind of weird that Blair Witch Project came in a 2-pack. That's crazy.
I can't remember if I think the movie was split in two on the VHS, and at the tail end of it, they had like bonus footage, bonus stuff on it. We're all used to that these days with Blu-rays, everything else. But yeah, that was.
The other hot topic about it was people always talked about the motion sickness with it. Like, people seeing it in the theater. A lot of people are all like, hey, you're going to get sick. Be careful.
That film was probably the worst. The next one was that came many, many years later was Cloverfield. Do you remember that movie Cloverfield?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And the motion sickness craziness with that?
Mm-hmm.
The first thing I thought of when I was watching Cloverfield, I was like, oh my God, I'm watching Blair Witch Project again.
Well, essentially, that's what it was. It was a mega budget Blair Witch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's.
But I like Cloverfield.
I never really thought of it that way, but yeah, that's actually was almost exactly that same formula.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah,
wow, you blowing my mind here tonight, Bo. I hadn't even thought of it that way. Wow. But that movie, actually, I'll tell you a little bit of a story here. So I went to see that movie in the theaters, and then my sister, who is almost 6 years younger than me, wanted to go and see it. She's a big girl, right? She don't want to sit with her big brother, right? She don't want to sit with her big brother. So we go in the theater, and this is when it was late in the run, and the movie, there weren't very many people in there. So it was me and her and a couple of other people. So I go and I sit in the middle, because I always sit in the middle. And she sits off to the side. She's a big girl, right? By about a third of the way through the movie, she's sitting next to me. She had moved and she was sitting next to me. And of course, me being her really good big brother, and not being a butthole at all. I totally took advantage of that. And I would wait until the weekend or on a school night or something. And I would get outside her window at the house, and I would click rocks and stuff and break sticks like it's like in the movie. And my mom had to tell me to stop, because I had actually made one of the straw figures and hung it in the front yard. So when the kids would come by on the school bus, they'd scream. I went nuts with that. Think of what I was talking about earlier. We were talking about the Halloween display out front. That was when that started. Like, my desire to do things like that was with Blair Witch, because I was like, oh man, I can get a rise out of people with this. This is super awesome. So yeah. And I kind of pushed it a little too far with my sister. She got really scared. I think at one point, Mom said, "You got to stop. The poor girl asked me for 4 Bibles, and she put them in every 4 corners of her bedroom, and she is so scared." And I was like, "All right, Mom, I'll stop." I was so disappointed. And if you're listening, Kayla, I love you.
It was all in good fun.
It was good fun.
That's right.
Or she probably doesn't think of it that way, but yeah, that's a good one. Blair Witch was a really good movie.
Yeah. My favorite horror franchise of all times, we'll touch on next episode. But as far as movies that I did not care for, and I'm probably going to catch flack for this one. The one horror movie that sticks out in my mind the most of any was, I watched it, I think, when I was in middle school, which was a bad idea. And it's turned out to be the one movie to this day I will not watch again, is The Exorcist.
Oh,
I cannot watch that movie again.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it? Well, I mean, it's for what that age you were watching that. That's pretty damn traumatic.
That's mental scarring right there, man.
That one got next to me, and everybody here in our group knows I'm a Christian. I grew up in a very strict household. That movie defies everything that I was raised to believe and what I believe to this day. So that's a big reason why I won't go back and rewatch that. There are just so many moments in that movie that should have never been for a child's eyes and ears that age.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's traumatic. That's a pretty traumatic scarring experience.
And when that face flashed up on the screen, that one frame, and back then we're dealing with VHS tapes, and that's how I was watching it. I had to go back and do hit the frame advance button on the old VCR remote until it got to that one frame where that face showed up, and I'm like, never again. I just sat there and looked at it. It freaked me out so bad when I first saw it, and then I rewound it and went back and looked, and I'm like, no, this is stupid. And even dumber, being a young kid at this age, watching it for the first time, by myself at 2:00 in the morning.
How old were you?
Golly, what was I? I was probably 11 or 12.
Oh, bro.
This was a rated R movie.
Didn't we just talk about this?
Bo's watching Porky's or whatever, Revenge of the Nerds at 9. So
Porky's.
No,
not Porky's.
No, not Porky's.
So yeah,
I mean, come on, it's insane how much we got away with watching when we were kids. Really?
You're not alone with a movie traumatically scarring you for a while, because I want to say I was like 9 or 10 when I saw the original Alien.
Yeah.
And that terrified the hell out of me for years. Like, I was probably in my 20s before I was okay to watch it again. Like, to tell you how much it freaked me out was, you remember when Disney still had the Alien Encounter?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we went on a high school trip where, like, everybody, I went in there, I was like, all right, let me try to face my fear. I thought the entire row we were on, you're all buckled down. Like, I picked it up, like, I had it there for about a millisecond, so I guess whoever was in the control room was like, uh-oh, and then clamp it back down on me. So, yeah. The original Ridley Scott Alien scared the crap out of me. Yeah. And like I said, then I've rewatched it now as a 20-year-old adult. Now it's, ha 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 ha, so. And then as I go back to check my closet before I go to sleep. So,
Yeah. What's funny is I did not see The Exorcist 2 until much later.
Ew.
But before I saw Exorcist 2, I actually, as a 17-year-old senior in high school, and I think this is when it came out, but I went and saw The Exorcist 3 in the theater by myself. And I can't, I have to look it up and see what year that came out. Tell you how old it was.
1990 or 90?
Is it 2 or is it 3 the one where they go out to the Middle East, or is that 2? Am I getting them mixed up?
That's 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that is 2. Okay.
Okay, so all right. It came out in 1990, so I was 14. Okay. Back then, the theaters really didn't care.
Nope.
No, they didn't. They had no.
They like, okay, you paid your money. I don't care. So at 14 or 15, no, I turned 14 in 1990. So, yeah, I remember going and watching The Exorcist 3 by myself in the theater. And it didn't faze me nearly as much as the original.
No,
the original
nothing.
has scarred me to this day. I will not watch it again. That's the one movie I will not watch again.
And he's absolutely 100% solid on that he will never watch it again.
Crud, you've got me out thinking, like, with all the horror movie experiences, stuff like that. I don't want to kind of jump around, but I just thought about something really good. You care if I talk about it?
Go ahead.
Sure, go for it.
This is, of course, I want to say, what year? How old was I? I think I was like a junior in high school, so I might not have been 17 or not. But on the same weekend, actually same day, girl I was dating at the time was like, hey, let's go watch some scary movies. So we went and saw Spawn, the original Spawn movie when it dropped, followed up by Event Horizon.
Ooh.
Same day. So I was like, you know what? I'm like, that's enough Hades movies for my day. So I don't know if, I'm pretty sure, I'm sorry, I'm thinking about all these movies after the fact. Event Horizon, that is a really freaky movie.
Mm-hmm.
But I love it.
All these different movies in some way, either it's the sci-fi horror, or it's the, like I said, it's the creatures, or it's the slashers, or it's the psychological. Everybody has what affects them the most or what's going to scare them the most. The slasher stuff has kind of turned into kind of a more of a humorous kind of thing with us. And, these things that scared us when we were kids, we can come back later and go, well, that, wasn't so bad on some of these movies, but some of them just leave you scarred for your life.
I mean, we could sit here and literally talk about. I mean, another one that was going to be for me that was kind of going to be my second choice was going to be Maximum Overdrive. Do you guys remember that movie?
Yes,
where the machines were went crazy because of that weird comment that went over?
Yes.
And I mean, if they redid Maximum Overdrive today, we're just dead.
Yeah.
I mean, we have so many computers and machines around us that we would just be dead. But back in the 80s, that was feasible.
Maximum Overdrive, the horror scary movie with the best soundtrack, horror movie wise. Fight me.
Well, and again, it's Stephen King. It's the mind that he works with.
And yet another Stephen King movie where the ending of the movie was kind of meh. It was kind of okay, cool.
Right.
That movie was about the substance and like Bo said, the soundtrack. And that's one that I can continue to just keep going back, watch. If anything, to watch the first 3 minutes where Stephen King actually comes in and he's talking to the ATM machine.
Yeah.
Honey, this machine just called me at home.
Could you imagine if we just spent time just on Stephen King alone?
Oh my gosh.
Oh gosh.
Whoa.
I mean, like some of his loopy movies, like Langoliers.
Uh-huh.
He had so many. I mean, God, it. They remade those. That guy is just the amount of impact he's made on all of our lives.
Right.
Just generations of people, and he's kind of like John Williams is to movie music as Stephen King is to like horror movies.
100%.
Yeah,
100%. No doubt about it.
Which I'm still hoping one day for him, I'm sorry we're getting on him, but an adaptation of his Dark Tower series. I've still yet to see the movie Ernest Elba. I know a lot of people who I've done the audiobooks for them like multiple times. I love that. That's like one of the coolest like sagas ever done to me. Like, I like it. But the cool thing about it, he ties all his like other books are tied into it some way or another. Like there's a reference or something. It's wild.
The Idris Elba Dark Tower, that would have been good if they actually gave it a full run. Like, multiple movies instead of just like putting everything into one movie. Yeah, you can't do that with Dark Tower.
Yeah,
I was completely cool with him playing the main character. That wasn't the problem. It was them trying to cram 7 books into one movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, his range is so broad. You've got everywhere stuff from like Christine to you have, you have Shawshank Redemption. You have Stand By Me. It's not just about being, blood and guts horror. It's just amazing the things that man has done over the years and just the wide reach that he has put himself out there with.
Made me think with Blood and Guts. That's one of the things, like all the horror movies we can talk about. Like, I can talk to a lot of stuff up, maybe 2007, but like I kind of got turned off by horror movies since then because like the torture and excessively gore in horror movies. Yeah, I like the first Saw. I like the first 2 Saws. Those were really cool. But then, like when movies, the whole entire movie's premise was either someone being mangled or dismembered.
Yeah.
That kind of turned me off on the genre for a while. Like I haven't seen many horror movies past 2007, 2010.
Yeah. I kind of took that as kind of like the whole genre was kind of cleansing its palate a little bit.
Yeah.
Like it was like we get a lot of this because either people are out of ideas or people are just following the pack, which you have that happen all the time anyway. But like, like the movie I mentioned, that was after that. And that movie is phenomenal. It's just what you're saying, Bo, is really valid. You just have to look a little harder for there's really good.
There's some great jewels like in that time frame. Probably one of my, I didn't think about, I should have brought it up, but like one of my favorites is Cabin in the Woods.
Oh my gosh.
That is a very
man, that movie, it just like, it starts off like, oh yeah, typical. Well, okay, it's typical. Oh, look, they're going to split up. Oh, and then all of a sudden at the end of it, you're like, what in the heck is going on?
Yeah.
But I think also as a lot of people who are our age was like, hey, let's make something really completely scary and completely fun at the same time. And that's one of the, that's another one, man. I could go on about that. I love that one. That one's.
Well, it just seems, it just seems like you're saying with the Saw movies, the first one's fantastic, but to me, and not that the other ones were bad, but it was almost like, let's just see how we can one up ourselves from the other one, and then the first Saw movie really freaked me out, just really did a number on me. So
a lot of the really good horror that I'm seeing, at least lately, granted this is like brand new stuff, is actually not even in movies anymore. I mean, they're doing series like I mentioned, I know you guys probably, everybody that we're talking here probably has already seen that. I'd seen Squid Game, which was a Korean show that was based on like a bunch of people getting together and they're all like compulsive gamblers, and then they go and they do this show where they find out that it has real life consequences to it, like doing game, and I'm not going to spoil it, but the whole horror element to it, it is jaw droppingly good. And then they got one that they call Midnight Mass that just came out not too long ago on Netflix. The whole point in mentioning that is that it seems like a lot of, just like everything else, a lot of the really good horror and just good movies that you would expect to be a movie, they're transitioning into like seasons of shows. So we get more content, you get more scares. So it's I think the quality overall of horror is actually going up because of that, because we're actually, you get a longer burn, more of a setup for things.
Well, that's like the American Horror Story series. I know a lot of people who love it. I've yet to watch it. My wife watched the first few seasons. She enjoyed it, but I don't know if she's
I'm involved in that, and I gotta say, this season split up in 2 different. It's called the double feature. I liked the first half. I've only seen 1 episode of this next one. I don't know how I feel about going into the second
alien
half.
abduction.
Yeah.
And with that one's going to be kind of weird. That one's going to be really weird.
To me, the best seasons of American Horror Story have already happened. In the first, the seasons 1 through 5. After that, we're kind of reaching. It's just getting to a point where I think the quality of the writing is just not as good as it was, and I haven't been as excited about this season as I have in the past.
They kind of wrap things up with Apocalypse a little bit there. And I wasn't really expecting, I honestly didn't expect a new season to come out. I thought it was just going to be the American Horror Stories, like the individual
and those
stories.
Were good. Those little short stories were good.
But Red Tide was really good. I thought it was really good. And it kind of felt like the old writing again. So it's like they're still there.
I had hope after seeing the Red Tide part of this season. I'm not feeling this second half, but I'm only into one episode so far. So,
Bo, you should definitely sit down. Like the season, like Salem, the house. Yeah. The first season will hook you. Salem will hook you. Mm-hmm. It's really good. Yeah. Really, really good.
Yeah. I'll take Jessica's advice. Watch the first 5 seasons and stay there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of shows I feel that way.
Yeah. They're.
It's just, to me, it feels like it's running out of gas.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, I can't blame the studio if people are still watching. They're still making money, and the actors still want to do it. Mm-hmm. Keep going. But I mean,
just anything Jessica Lange has had involvement with American Horror Story has been top notch. I'll just put it that way. And I love Sarah Paulson, and she's really the only reason why I'm kind of sticking around. But yeah, we'll just kind of see how the rest of this plays out. So anyway,
I will even if Sarah Paulson drops out of it, I'll still watch it for Billy Lord. I mean, Billy Lord's really good too. She's not quite Sarah Paulson caliber, but she's actually coming out of her shell a lot.
I like Billy. Yeah, she's carrying on those Carrie Fisher genes.
Oh yeah, it's my girl.
Well,
that was a heck of a tangent.
We just went quiet.
Yeah. So hey guys, shall we get into talking about the feature film that we all watched? I think all of us but Bo. Bo didn't get a chance to watch it, so we're going to spoil it for him, and we're going to totally tell him everything that's going on. And he's already said that he's still going to watch it, which we are all 3 of us telling him don't.
Yeah.
So Jess and I one night we're flipping through on our Amazon Fire Stick, and it's showing upcoming. Or new things that we're streaming, and all of a sudden this ad pops up for this little jewel of a movie that this girl walks out of her house, and all of a sudden this llama with glowing red eyes shows up on the porch and shoots laser beams out of its eyes and kills her.
Yeah,
and I'm like, what is this? And it, the title, whoa, Llamageddon, and I'm like, okay, that looks really bad. We're going to have to find out about it. And we're going to have to talk about it. We're going to have to convince the other guys to watch it. So we decided, as far as this episode, that we would watch this. And it's 1 hour and 9 minutes long, which is about 1 hour too long.
15 minutes too. Wait, no, 10 minutes too long.
Yeah.
They literally could have just done the cool animated credit scene and stopped at the very beginning, which, by the way, the credits at the very beginning are amazing.
Those were pretty good. The animation was the best part of the movie. I will give you that.
Yes.
This thing, oh boy, this movie.
Oh boy. This movie makes Peanut Butter Solution Oscar worthy.
Yeah. Yeah. And when it started off, after it got past the animated credits and they started, and I looked at Jess, I'm like, this thing was shot on somebody's iPhone. It had to have been. And as it turns out, it is, as I was also mentioning to her, it was a school project. It was a college project that somehow found its way onto Amazon Prime. I think of a budget of like $3,000. This thing is about space llamas, and some
murderous space llamas,
very murderous space llamas. And in case you're curious, the llama in the movie, his real name is Louie. Mm-hmm. I'm sure he's a wonderful. I'm sure he's a wonderful chap.
I like Louie. I was pulling for Louie the whole time.
Because the actors in it are so terrible, you have to pull for the llama.
Absolutely. He's the hero of the movie.
Yeah. So essentially, the llama gets shot off from his home planet in a trailer. One of the horse trailers that you see out on the road.
Guys, literally a horse trailer with wings.
Yes. Which in the animation looked okay. But when it lands, it's a horse trailer, and like the tin roof sections.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what's attached to the side of the trailer. It's just you can tell it's off the top of a tin roof, just sticking out of the trailer, and yeah, that's how you know is just watching it start off when it hits live action. But also when Louis stumbles, when he crashes onto Earth and he stumbles out of his trailer, his spaceship. The special effects budget had to be very minimal because Louis got glowing red eyes, but the glow isn't always on his eyes.
Yeah.
It's like they didn't match it up frame for frame, so he turns his head and the eyes has to catch up with it. The glow has to catch up with his eyes.
It's trailing red eyes.
So basically they paid a guy to Photoshop them on there with our After Effects, but they only paid him for every like 10 frames.
Yeah. and it wasn't Photoshop. It was Microsoft Paint.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
So like I said, it turned out, after doing a little bit of research, it turns out it's a college film. And you can tell because these are all college age actors. Okay, these are guys who basically work for... These are people, they're friends who probably just work for pizza and beer, honestly.
Mm-hmm. Lots of Bush beer, apparently.
Yes, Bush beer is prevalent in this. And the director's name, this has to be a pseudonym. The director's name is Howie. Last name, Dewan.
And you may not have caught it earlier, guys, but Brock said what the length of the film was an hour and 9 minutes, 69 minutes,
and that was on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
they made it that length on purpose. These are college kids, or they were at the time.
I'm just glad
there's a lot of horrible language in this movie.
Oh,
there is a lot of innuendos and
there's a lot of
stuff in it.
A lot of raging hormones.
Take us through the movie, man. If you don't, I will.
There's no nudity. There's no nudity.
No, there is because he shows a picture of a topless girl on his phone.
Well, but
that's the only nudity in the movie. But everything else is. You know what? We watched this late on Wednesday night. You guys are very familiar with how my brain does not retain a lot of short-term knowledge any longer. So, Kevin, go right ahead.
So, granted, I keep in mind, guys, I tried to forget a lot of this right after I watched it because the movie was so incredibly hard. So it's kind of seared into my brain. So the llama, which by the way, the llama they reproduce by laying eggs in this, which is like really weird, which plays on later in the movie.
Yeah.
But this llama, it crash lands, and then it immediately goes in. And by the way, this llama is confined in the pasture most of the time, like a llama would be in real life, right?
Right.
And the llama kills this two kids' parents, kills the parents off, and the kids come home, and then they, instead of like worrying about the parents being missing, they decide to throw a party, and the older girl decides to throw a party, and then her younger brother. And I'm probably butchering this.
Well, they had already gone to the funeral.
No, yeah, they
had gone to the funeral. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So he's kind of a
hang on. The funeral was for. I'm trying to remember too in the beginning because they were actually the two teenagers, the main characters.
Come back, and I don't want it to come back.
They were riding. They were riding in the car with their mother to their grandparents' house. They had just come from somebody's funeral in their family. I don't remember who. I don't at this point.
What it was.
Yeah, because they kept saying the grandparents were killed, but the thing is, the two people at the beginning of the movie who were killed were way too young to be college age grandparents.
I still think that was supposed to have been them at the beginning.
And it may have been with this budget, and they were just grabbing anybody they could for this movie. Probably.
That's the way I remember it, was that it was like that was their grandparents that had been killed.
Yeah.
And the thing is, their mom and dad look older than the grandparents.
Yes.
Yes,
older.
that's it.
And keep in mind, guys, that these grandparents were like they were there for like 2 seconds. It was like they had pretty much no presence whatsoever. So the llama kills them off.
Yes.
And then this turns into a college flick immediately because the older sister wants to throw a party. And then she spends the next like 3 minutes of the film texting her friends who are already driving to the place in their car. I don't know how that worked, but the film literally picked up in my brain at that point because the girl is texting them and it's this whole text on the screen thing, but she's not even trying to text on the phone. She's just imagining it telepathically. And she's staring at the screen like an idiot. And I'm like,
she's staring at the upper left corner of the screen because that's where the text is being shown. She's got the phone in her hand like she's texting, but instead she's looking up to the corner of the screen
and doing nothing with her hands
and thinking it's like she can see the text that's appearing on the television screen that you're watching.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And honestly, at that point, I kind of started checking out. because I was like, this is going to be like really, really bad.
I mean,
so basically the llama starts appearing to people.
Mm-hmm.
The jocks come out to the party. Then you have the stoners, and then they all start splitting off. And then at one point they have. And I know I'm fast forwarding through this, Jessica.
No, please.
It's fine.
Let's get through it.
But at some point they all decide to get in a hot tub. This was the most hilarious part of the freaking movie because they decide to get in the hot tub, and the all of a sudden the llama gets in there, and then he
drops a radio.
The llama drops a radio, in there, and the budget effects that they had were like drawn on electrical lightning bolts and stuff over and over again, and they're all like, and this goes on for a solid 2 minutes.
Oh yeah,
it's like somebody paid for this effect, and they were going to get their time out of it.
They were trying to stretch it to that hour 9 minute mark.
I mean, just seriously. And so basically this one thing kills off like 3/4 of the cast.
Right.
Right then and there.
Just like that. And then it ends with the, one of the guys getting turned into a mutant version of the llama.
They're all running away.
Who starts pooping out mutant llama eggs.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how it became very disturbing.
I don't think it was coming out of the guy's rear end, though.
No, it was not.
He had
it was coming out of the front. I was trying to be peachy.
He was giving birth. He was giving birth to a bunch of llama eggs.
And he did a bunch. And then at some point...
Yeah, it didn't
And he
stop.
had the glowing eyes. He also had the Photoshop glowing eyes.
What was it? I guess the uncle or whatever comes in. He's got
the
like
dad.
a sawed off... The dad. That's what it was, yeah.
That's what the dad.
He's got a sawed off shotgun, and he's like... He's like the Terminator, like the goofy Terminator of the movie. And then I think, what did they wind up killing the llama with a thresher?
With a combine.
With a combine. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was sad. That was sad.
And granted, guys, I just fast forwarded through the movie, but there were scenes in there where, we were talking about this in our pre-show where one of the girls was being stomped by the evil llama, the Llamageddon llama, and it's literally like hooves that are on sticks.
Yes.
Yeah, they've taken like very soft, like plush, like the plush hooves you would find on a stuffed horse or something, and they've wrapped the sticks in felt or some sort of skin.
Fur, to make
fur.
it, yeah.
And, the girl is on the ground. This is the only part that got me cracking up laughing because you can tell like somebody is just standing above her, stomping the feet on her and around on the ground.
But then that one guy decided he was going to get into a boxing match with a llama. So it was somebody was taking those, the legs on sticks and just, you could see it, from the camera.
Poking from the camera.
Yeah. Oh,
and then they had a whole protracted scene in a field where the llama was like shooting at the ground and it was like causing fires. So, at some point they must have like gotten permission to use somebody's field and they were just out there torching it with special effects. And they were so super proud that their MS Paint drawn lasers that they were doing that was following along with the burn path that they did with their special effects with gasoline or whatever they were using. Yeah, the movie was...
Anytime someone died and there was somebody standing around, they got hosed down with like red...
Like a red water hose.
Yeah,
it was a single stream of red high pressure blood.
Yes.
Or slime or whatever they were shooting.
And we're not talking like just a little bit.
No.
Gratuitous amounts.
Yes.
Yes. Like riff tracks. I know you don't listen to this, but please, at some point,
it's perfect.
Consider doing this if you haven't done it already. Llamageddon, riff tracks, guys, please do this. It would be phenomenal because the movie is horrible. That's pretty much the only way you probably get people to watch it.
I'm just so glad that we made the decision to watch it when we did, because before it was available on Amazon Prime. If you can look up the standard definition version to watch this on Amazon prior to that was listed at $1 million.
Yeah. You had to pay $1 million to watch this film on Amazon.
I kid you not. That's one of the trivias about the movie.
So I'm looking at a Q&A with Howie Dewin, the director, and they asked him, what was your budget and how did you raise the money? And he said the budget was just under $3,000, which I received as a grant from a professor at my university. So he didn't want to disclose which university or if he was a grad student or whatever, but they used the art department there at the university to build these things. So, kudos to them for making this really horrible movie with a tiny budget and get it on Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, and they've got a Twitter account, which is still active. The night we watched it, they were still replying to people.
Yeah, it's still active. And I think the whole buzz about it being on Amazon Prime has brought it back to life. So
I really wish they could go back and whoever did the animation for the intro credits, which, by the way, that hooks you. As soon as you see the introduction, you're like, okay, this might not be too bad. And then you get into the real movie and you're like, this is really horrible. So if whoever did that intro, if they could just make a whole Llamageddon movie with that animation, I would watch that. I would totally watch it. Even if they did the exact same horrible movie in that animation, I'd be all about it. I'd watch it again.
Well, you might be in luck because they are talking sequel.
Oh my God. What are they going to do at live action?
I don't know, but they asked in this Q&A, they asked them, why did you choose llamas and not like alpacas? And so Howie Dewin is saying that we decided on llamas and Llamageddon for that matter because at the time we had access to a llama and not alpacas. That made it an easy decision, but we are still holding strong to work with alpacas in the upcoming sequel, Alpacalypse.
Perfect. Perfect. Well, until that comes out, we do have some suggestions via IMDb. If you enjoyed Llamageddon, you would also enjoy Carousel, as in carousel. Carousel, about apparently a demonic unicorn. We also have Killer Pinata. We have Killer Sofa. Santa Jaws, which I've heard people talking about Santa Jaws before.
And Kev, these should be right up your alley with these punny.
Yeah, I would say yeah.
And we also have Zombievers. Zombievers, yes. Okay, zombie beavers. Okay. So that's our more like this via the IMDb website.
But that's only if you guys can get past Llamageddon.
Oh.
And I would go into more details of the movie, but like I said, this is not for a young audience. This is college kids really getting their hormones out of their system.
And the dancing between the guy and the gal in the kitchen.
Oh, stop!
That was just so. The movie is so amazingly cringy, and not even just in effects. It's just the way that they acted. The fact that this is basically what you would expect two people that have absolutely no acting talent, or just a group of people that have no acting talent whatsoever, that just got together and were powered by, what was it, Bush Beer?
Yeah.
That's all they did. I mean, and it was very obvious that the majority of this was filmed over one night.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And the purpose.
One night.
Oh, the running gag, though. The running gag in the entire movie. I can't believe I forgot about this because it caught our attention immediately. And it happened throughout the entire movie. Mm-hmm. This one guy, was his name Dale? Dan.
I don't remember.
I think it was Dan.
Yeah, Dan.
Look for the guy named Dan. You can't miss him because every scene his shirt changes.
Mm-hmm. He's in a different shirt every time you see him.
Every scene.
Oh yeah, that was the jock guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what they decided on is the running gag for the entire movie, outside of, llama lasers.
And he tried to go out a hero. I'll just say that. So
he was actually not too bad. He kind of became the main character there.
Yeah.
Starting at about a third of the way through the movie.
The main character is the little brother of this girl.
Floyd.
This guy is straight up, as you would imagine, a college age guy who, best way to put this, who has never attracted a female to him.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
He's that type of nerd.
Yeah.
That's typical and stereotypical, and
Brock, just say it straight. He's a college virgin.
Yeah.
Okay, he's a straight up college virgin, and a girl takes pity on him, and
that's not all she takes out on him.
Okay, right, okay. Let's go no. I was being PG with it. So he starts out and he's like really awkward and he's very meh, and his sister walks all over him, and he has relations with this girl, and he comes out and he comes out and he's like walks out and almost literally says, "I'm a man now."
Yeah, that's actually exactly the line.
Yeah.
And he's like a totally different character from then on.
It's like Coach Gundy from Oklahoma State. I'm 40. I'm a man. That's what he turns into.
And then he's proceeded. I'm assuming he's killed by the llama, not afterwards. Right afterwards, right?
I won't ruin that. No, I won't ruin that for you.
Yeah, you got to watch the movie.
Yeah,
it's only 69 minutes.
This movie.
I just figured that they had to really sit down and say how terrible of a movie we can make, and how far can we take the cringe level to make it.
How did this get on Amazon?
I don't know.
How did this get on Amazon?
I have no idea. They probably had to pay Amazon to get on there. But in another scene, the trailer that the llama comes in on is, out in the middle of this pasture where he crash lands, and they've got all this quote unquote scientist walking around. They've all got on the white lab coats, but like they're wearing shorts and ripped up t-shirts and stuff underneath, total pros. So you expect
you've got your A-level actors, B-level, C-level. These guys are F-level.
Dude, this is Z-level. This is the very last letter of the alphabet level. Yeah. So in Bama Geeks history, you choose to watch this, that's your decision. That's all I got to say.
On IMDb, it scores a 4 out of 10. And I think that's generous.
Yeah.
I think it only gets 4 out of 10 because it's just so bad. It's like they were trying their darndest to be a cult classic.
And the fact that they wound up on Amazon Prime, it might well be. We might see Alpocalypse.
And it's sad that I kind of hope we do. It's like I said before.
It's got to have a bigger budget.
It's like the whole scenario, the car wreck situation. You are not supposed to look at this. You're supposed to just keep going. But what does your head do? You got to turn to see the catastrophe that is beside you.
Instead of $3,000, let's give them $6,000.
Yeah,
this time.
So make them sweat.
At least improve the spray of the blood.
Oh, no, that was one of the best parts, man. Just the copious amounts of blood. It was like...
They can still have that, but at least give them a nozzle like on your water hose, at least spreads it out a little bit. And so instead of just one shot right into the eye of 20 gallons of blood, at least you get your face covered evenly with the spray. At least.
As long as they don't change how the people vomit. Like the one guy when he got infected, and he was like, he was hunkered over, and you could even see the thing that was.
you could see the green water hose they were using.
Yeah.
There's even one shot in the movie you can see the cameraman.
Yeah.
So we didn't set out to make this flawless and professional at all. There was no effort put forth towards there, and that's the whole point. I strongly believe.
Well, I think that the majority of them were on were drunk on the beer that was probably provided for them. That was probably a third of their budget was the beer, most likely. They probably just were drunk the whole time, which is why you had a lot of goof ups like that.
Mm.
Yeah.
I mean,
it had to be. But, you know, the movie came out. It was made in 2015. It's been available for streaming since April. And on Rotten Tomatoes, there is no audience score and no tomato meter. It's at 0 for both. Nobody's even trying to review this thing except us, apparently.
Guys, we interviewed Peanut Butter Solution. We can handle this, okay?
I want to go back and watch Peanut Butter Solution after this.
I need to
cleanse the palate.
Cleanse your palate.
Thank you. I was about to say, I got to cleanse my palate with some peanut butter.
Save us. Senor.
Senor.
He said, this one makes me want to watch The Exorcist again.
Paint me a magical...
I have a line.
Paint me a magical picture, senor. Take me away.
Paint me a llama, senor. So we spoiled the plot points and everything.
It doesn't matter.
But we can't stress enough. Do not watch this movie. It's not worthy to be watched, even though we really want Bo to see it.
I'll watch it. Don't worry. I will watch it, and I will leave my notes for next time.
Okay.
With that said, we look forward to all of you commenting on our social media post about how you've watched it and
how you're very disappointed us for making you watch it.
Yes.
Yeah. It's, and it looks like, I'm just going to put this out here. I even told Jess, I said, please, of all good things in the world, do not let this have been filmed in Alabama. Because it's on a farm. It's got hicks. It's got debauchery.
Their accents were a bit off, though.
It's filmed
so bad
in Ohio. Thank you, Ohio.
Thank goodness. Their accents were right.
Ohio.
At least I think it was filmed in Ohio because all the plates are from Ohio, and they're not going to spend any of that $3,000 to change out license plates and make it a fake location. They can't. They can't afford it.
That's just a different flavor of redneck, so we're good.
Oh, Ohio is full of rednecks.
Yeah, it's just a different flavor.
I know people from Ohio, not rednecks, and rednecks. We're from Alabama. We know a redneck when we see it.
Yeah, like I said, we just have our own flavor. They have their own flavor. So yeah, guys, to sum up, we're going to tell you, please don't watch this.
Yeah.
You're probably going to anyway.
Don't.
But we warned you. That's why we provided you with the plot point so that you can realize just how incredibly horrible this movie is. But if you do want to subject yourself to it, go right ahead. It's on Amazon.
That's on you now.
You can throw this blame right back onto myself and Jessica because we're the ones who saw it advertised on Amazon Prime and goes, oh, this might be interesting. And then we suckered these two guys into it. Well, at least we'll sucker one in the future into it. Oh, yeah. But we suckered Kevin was the first one to jump on it and watch it.
I think I actually was the first one to watch it.
You were.
Like all together.
And, because you messaged us and went, what is this? Oh my goodness. And then Jess and I were like, we're going to watch it like next week, which was this past week, because my brain wouldn't be able to remember it. I remember too much of it.
Uh-huh.
But hey, good job on the animation as far as Kevin's dead on. The intro and some of the animation was not bad.
Well, I mean, the animation, it wasn't just the intro. There was actually an interstitial moment about toward the end of the movie where they couldn't figure out how to do the
transformation
guy turning into so they actually switched back to the same animation and the guy turned into the mutant and it looked, I'm like, hell yeah, all right, this is awesome. And then they went back to the other. I was like,
and then
I want to see the animated movie of this.
Yeah, if this movie were animated, I probably would have enjoyed it a lot better. Because the animation was good, yeah.
Even with that really bad script and the pacing, which is everything was really predictable, they should. If we get a sequel to this and there's no animation in it, I may actually find a table to flip over. I'm going to give them a very strongly worded review, which may be the only one they get.
Give us Apocalypse. That's all we ask, and make it animated.
Do it, guys.
So we are done with Llamageddon. We're done with this episode.
Close this chapter.
Yeah.
Shut it. Done with it. Over.
So you're on your own if you watch it. So we're going to move on to one of the most popular horror franchises of all time for the next episode, because we're going to be right in the middle of October. And it's one that it's my favorite of all time. It's one that I've watched since I was a kid. Exorcist, I could not handle as a kid. This series, I could. We're going to review whatever we can think about and talk about with A Nightmare on Elm Street.
Mm-hmm.
I've met Robert Englund.
Oh.
He has worn my Freddy Krueger glove. We'll tell you the story of that. We're going to discuss Freddy.
Here and I thought Rock was going to say the Chucky franchise. I mean, come on.
I like Chucky franchise. Don't get me wrong. I like Chucky.
We had to choose one.
We decided to settle on one franchise, and we all agreed to A Nightmare on Elm Street. And
honestly, guys, it was either going to be Freddy or Jason at that point. It was like that's pretty much the only thing we mentioned. It was going to be Freddy or Jason.
There's a lot of horror franchises out there, but yeah.
Yeah, but we're going to go for the big one with A Nightmare on Elm Street, just because it's my favorite, and Kevin should absolutely love A Nightmare on Elm Street because Freddy's puns, all the jokes he tells. So,
yeah, he's the dad joke king.
Yeah.
So far as horror goes, that guy's amazing.
We'll even touch on thoughts of that horrible remake with Jackie Earle Haley,
which could have been so good.
It could have been.
Could have been.
But
yeah.
We'll talk about it next time. We'll leave that. So we're gonna wrap it up. Again, hit us up on social media at Bama Geeks on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. BamaGeeks@gmail.com if you'd like to drop us a line that way. If you'd like to, sponsor us, we'll take that. We'll work out a deal with you.
No Bush beer.
No Bush beer. And I'm going to leave it at that. We'll be selective. We'll give you good quality spots. By the way, if you really want to hear some good advertisements, listen to Jim Cornette's podcast and listen to him try to do sponsorships for all these products. They are absolute gold. If you can handle his language, the sponsorships and the things that you think we go off on tangents, he'll go off on tangents during a sponsored spot. And it is
sounds about right.
Yeah.
It is
but that's what you pay for a sponsor, to get him to do that, I would think. So
you have to. And he is.
They know what they're getting.
He's 100% gold. Controversial in the wrestling world, but Jim Cornette's podcast, with the experience and the drive-through, his live reads on commercials are top-notch.
Mm-hmm.
Comedy. So, all right, we're going to wrap it up. And thanks so much for joining us for this episode. We'll catch you again on the next one.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Bye, guys.
See y'all.